Hello, friends. Welcome to today's yoga practice. We are going to be working on opening up our chest. And I have with me a blanket that I have rolled into like a little cylinder. And this can be used to support your back body. So you could lay on this. This is something that you could do on a regular basis just to help to begin to passively open up the chest. Making sure that your head is supported as well as your low back. An option, which is a little bit more intense, is to have your feet together and your legs come apart. This would be like cobbler's pose or butterfly pose. Or you could have your knees together and your feet apart. And then the hands could come out from the shoulders, palms up. And if this is not something that you want to do, you could also do a seated stepping into the class, or you could do this at the end of the class. So there are many options. I'm going to actually start seated, and I'm going to use this blanket to support my pelvis so that I can sit up more effortlessly. If you'd like to start by sitting in a chair, you can do that as well. If you'd like to come along with me and the Spotify playlist, you can go ahead and hit play now. Taking some deep breaths, noticing if you can get the breath down into the heart space of the chest. You might place your hands on your chest and feel the expansion on the inhalation, the contraction on the exhalation. If you're seated, you could bring your hands down, palms up on the thighs, continuing to breathe nice and deep in and out through the nose if possible. And if you're lying down, you could stay in that position or come up into a seated position. You could bring your hands to the tops of your shoulders, and we're going to do some shoulder rolls. So bringing the elbows down and out and back. Squeezing the shoulder blades as you bring them back. Opening the back body as you bring your elbows forward. You could reverse that, go the other direction around. Make sure you're breathing nice and deep. One more time around. And then bring it back to center. Let's bring our hands to rest back on tops of our thighs. Bringing your eyes back open, we can do a little gentle twist, bringing one hand over to the opposite knee. And instead of looking over that opposite shoulder, let's look over the shoulder of the arm that is extended. Really feel this in the side of your neck. And then let's bring it back to center and try the other side. So looking over the arm that is extended across, feel into the side of your neck. Okay, we're going to find our way into child's pose. So you could come up off the mat if you're lying down. If you're in a chair, you can come to the mat and then bringing your forehead down and onto the ground. Extended child's pose, so our arms are out in front of us. And see if you can relax your sternum down to the ground. Breathing nice and easy. Staying here for a moment. And then finding your way up and onto all fours. We're going to do some cat and cat cows. So tucking your chin in towards your chest, arch the spine up, tuck your tail, and then open up the other way. Specifically feeling into the back of the heart as you push. And then as you let your chest sink towards the floor, the front of the heart. One more time. Bringing it back to center, seeing if you could sit back on your heels. If you need to, you could always come up onto your knees. We're going to bring our hands to our back body, and we're going to draw the elbows towards one another and open the chest. Nice and gentle. You could support your back body with your hands. Make sure that you don't overextend your low back. And then just look up towards the sky, opening up the chest. Take a deep breath in. Let's come back to center. We're going to come onto all fours and take your hands out in front of your shoulders. So warming up the spine a little bit more, we're going to circle the hips around. And you can even put a little cat-cow into this. So you arch your spine. Gentle back bend as you come forward, listening to your body. And then taking it the other way around. One more time around. And then bringing it back. If that felt good to you to have your hands on your back, you could do that. Or you could try interlacing your hands behind your body and then squeezing the shoulders and then straightening the arms. And then give a little tuck to your tail so that you keep your low back nice and straight. And then looking up. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's release those hands. We're going to come back out. We're going to begin to circle around one knee, one leg, and then we're going to step that foot through between the hands, coming into a low lunge. You can always feel free to keep your hands down by your foot or coming upright and then pressing into the thigh. It's okay if your knee comes out beyond your ankle in this position. Reach the crown of your head long. Let's bring our hands back down if you're upright. Stepping that foot back, we're going to switch to the other leg, circling it around. Breathing. You're ready, stepping that foot forward, doing the same thing on this side that you did on the last one. Staying down or bringing your hands to the top of the thigh, looking up, extending your spine long. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back down. Now for the pose of the day, this is heart melting pose, which is called Anahatasana. And Anahatasana is done where you keep your hips right over your knees and then you melt your heart down to the ground. So be very gentle with yourself. You could also do this with a chair. So if you're kneeling in front of the chair, you could place your hands on the chair and just open up the front of the chest, nice and gentle. Anahatasana is our pose of the day, heart melting pose. Now I want you to feel into this pose because this is similar to how down dog can feel in your upper body. Here we're on our knees, but in down dog we come up onto the balls of our feet, extending the legs or bending them. So we're going to come out of this, bring your hands back underneath your shoulders, and we're going to curl our toes and we're going to come into downward facing dog. And then just notice if it feels similar to you, having your heart melting through your arms. Breathe nice and easy. Now we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet and come into forward fold. You could always place your belly on your thighs and keep your knees bent or begin to straighten the legs, shifting your body weight a little bit to the balls of the feet. You could wrap your arms around, forearms to the calf muscles. Breathing. Okay, we're going to slowly roll up, tucking the tail, bending the knees. And we're going to step into the front of your mat, and we're going to get ready for Warrior One. So Warrior One is a little bit different than Warrior Two in that we want to keep our hips facing the front of the mat. So I'm going to step my foot back, and then I'm going to see if it feels okay to bring my whole foot down to the ground. So notice that I have a bend in my front leg. I needed to step that back a little bit further. And notice that I have the back leg a little bit farther out to the side so that I can line up my heel with my heel. Now, if this feels wonky in your knees, you could always come up onto the ball of the foot like this. Right? So you can decide where you want to be. Option here is to bring your hands to your hips, or maybe bring the hands to your back body, or Interlace your fingers, squeeze your shoulder blades, and look up. Warrior one. I'm going to bend a little bit deeper into my front leg, making sure that my knee does not go beyond my ankle. Opening up my chest. Take a deep breath in. We're going to come out of the pose, releasing the hands and stepping that foot forward. Shifting to the other side. Step the foot back, turn the foot out. See if I can turn my hips a little bit towards the front of the mat. Making sure when I bend into my front knee, my knee does not go out beyond my ankle. And then option here to interlace the fingers, maybe in a different way. You could always place your hands on your low back. So maybe in an awkward fashion, other finger on top, and then squeezing the shoulder blades, pulling the low belly in, and breathing here. Warrior one. Taking a deep breath in, we're going to release the hands first. We're going to pick up the back heel and then step it forward. Now to release the spine, let's do some little spinal twists. So you can take your hands soft on the body. Bringing yourself back to center. We're going to come into chair pose. Sinking your hips back, hands can stay here in front of the heart. You could take them out in front of you, the hands, or you could lift your chest up just a little bit. You need to come out of the deep hip flexion a little bit so that you can look up towards the sky. Wherever you are, breathe. Chair pose. Notice the resistance you might be feeling to breathing. Resistance, heat being generated in your legs. And then we're going to take a deep breath in and come out of the pose. And we're going to take the hands at the heart, bringing them up. And then thumb to index finger, bringing the elbows down back behind the body. So let's just do that a couple of times. We inhale up. Thumb to index finger, pull the elbows back. Now, do you have your core engaged? Do you have your tail tucked? Are your feet parallel? Are you rooting down through the bottoms of your feet as you do this? Breathing in, exhaling back down. One more time, breath in. Exhale back down. Bringing your hands down beside your body. Let's do just a little side bend. Taking your hand up the side of your body, just going to your depth here. Up the side of the body, up the side of the rib cage. And keeping your shoulders in the same plane as your hips. So not leaning forward or backwards, but staying like between two planes of glass. Breathing. Last two. Okay, bringing yourself back to the front of your mat. This time we're going to step one foot back and into warrior two pose. So stepping the foot back, coming into what should now probably be a very familiar position to you. Making sure that your shoulders stay right over your hips. Arms can come out. Palm up, front hand reaching up and back. Feel that side bend, similar to what we just did in a standing position. Keep the bend in the front leg. Exalted warrior. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back to center. We're going to bring the forearm lightly to rest, side angle, arm straight up. You could look up or look out, whatever feels better for your neck. And then bring it back to center. Okay. Picking up that back foot, turn and step. We're going to do the other side. Warrior two. Palm up, front hand, reaching up and back, side bend. Keep the bend in the front leg, looking up or out or down. So notice that if your neck feels tight, constricted. Take a deep breath in. Forearm comes to rest on the thigh, and then shoot that arm straight up. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back to center. Picking up that back heel, turning and stepping forward. Let's take a moment here in mountain pose. Notice if you're fidgety, can you calm yourself back down and stand in stillness? You could close your eyes and feel the heat in the body, the energy, the pressure, the temperature, maybe any tingling that you feel on the surface of the skin. And then we're going to step a little bit wider on the mat, maybe as wide as your mat is. And then bring your hands to your back of your body like this. And we're going to do a little opening of the front of the hips, just leaning back into your hands, drawing your elbows back towards one another. Breathe. And then release. We're going to wrap our arms around, opening up your back body. So elbows can stack, and then you can bring your chin down to your chest and feel your back of your neck. Make sure that your tail is tucked and you are being strong through your belly. And then open the arms out, other arm on top, chin to chest. This is a complementary pose to opening up the heart, just opening up the back of the heart. And then take a deep breath in, open, and then just give yourself a little wiggle. You can give your chest a little shimmy. You can shake out your hands. You could wiggle your legs, your thighs, your feet, your heart. And we're going to make our way down and onto our back bodies. Bringing your knees into your chest. We're going to squeeze the knees in. And then if it feels good to you, you can rock from one side and to the other. Just a little bit, side to side. Noticing that massage of your low back. Now, taking your knees out wide, bring your feet up to the sky. And this is our happy baby pose. You can grab onto your shins, your feet, your ankles, wherever it feels okay. And then notice how far down my knee is. So just notice where your knee is in terms of, can you get your legs a little bit wider? Can you get your thighs a little bit closer to the ground, to the sides of your body? Happy baby can be moved side to side. Massaging those big back muscles. And then we're going to bring our feet down. We're going to take them wide on the mat and bring them side to side. Windshield wipering them. You could turn your head with them. Okay, walking your feet back together, hip width apart. We're going to do bridge pose, but we're going to try to lift our shoulder blades up off the ground. So this is a more of an opening, heart opening. If you have done this previously with your hands interlaced underneath your sacrum, that would be one option. This is a little bit easier if you have your arms down and your hands up so that they're facing one another. We're going to lift the pelvis up off the ground, and then I'm just going to kind of walk my arms underneath. And so I'm kind of like on my upper arm. Option, again, is to interlace your hands under or just to come into your regular bridge. But this allows me to arch my spine a little bit, open up my chest a little bit more, and it also keeps the weight off of my head and my neck. So I'm actually on my upper arm bones here. Breathing. Notice the desire to come down. See if you can hold it a little bit longer. Breathing nice and deep. This takes a lot of muscle, a lot of strength to hold our bridge pose. And then bringing it back down nice and easy. You could grab the backs of your thighs and we could roll front to back. And then crossing your legs and coming over, taking care not to kick the cat. And then coming over, and let's walk ourselves back and onto the belly. Taking your feet up into the sky, we're going to take them side to side, and we're going to roll our ankles. So just letting your feet dance here. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to bring the legs down and we're going to come up very gently and into a low sphinx. So my elbows are a little bit further back from my shoulders and I'm kind of hunched over here. I'm a low sphinx because what I want to do is I want to take one leg out and come into a 90 degree. And that might just be like weird, and it might be weird. It might be like maybe tight, your hip here. So just see if you can gently lift your chest up without causing any issues with the hip joint. So be very gentle with yourself. This is really tight on me for some reason today. Unexpectedly so. Okay, one of the reasons why we're in this pose is we're going to do our spinal twist from here. So if my right leg is out, my left arm is going to come underneath my right. So your opposite arm, whichever leg you have out, and then rolling open. And this arm that is extending back is possibly just going to dangle out in space. I might be able to lift my shoulder underneath so that my arm actually comes down to the ground. But if you find that your arm is just hanging or hovering off of the ground, that's perfectly fine. What we want to feel into is that shoulder opening your pectoralis muscle, your chest muscles. and taking some deep breaths here. Feel how wide you are here. It's really important to come out of the poses the same way we came in. So slowly lifting that arm up. The leg is going to be the last thing to come out of the pose. So unwinding your body, bring your elbows underneath, and then leg comes. And we're going to try the other side. You could sit hunched over. You could sit up a little bit straighter. And see if you can relax into that hip. Taking some deep breaths. Option, taking the arm underneath, rolling open, and this arm might just dangle here out in space. My shoulder that's underneath might be able to scoot out a little bit, and you might be able to bring the arm down to the ground. Many years I spent just having my arm hanging out in space. It's only recently I figured out how to move that shoulder out so I can open up the chest. You could look back towards your hand. Breathing into the shape of this pose. Taking a deep breath in, let's roll back over. Coming back onto the belly, the leg is the last thing to come out of the pose. And then we're going to come up and back and into child's pose. So if you like, you could try your legs together, your arms back behind. Taking some deep breaths here. Now we're going to find our way up and into seated. You could always come up onto your knees here. Let's take our arms up over our head. Interlace the fingers and take the index fingers up. Now see if you can relax your shoulders away from your ears. Breathe here. Option to take it over to one side. Just a little bit. Take a deep breath in, bring it back to center, and then just a little bit over to the other side. Take a deep breath in, bring it back to center, and then maybe just a little bit up towards the sky. Keep a tuck in your tail. Keep your low back long. And then take a deep breath in, bring it back to center, and then bring your arms down. Hands come out. We're going to come into our downward facing dog. And we're going to play here between downward facing dog and then just coming out front to back, just a little playful. You could bring your hands out a little bit so that you can come more into a plank. You can do the same pose on your knees. So on your knees, it's just front to back, being very gentle, very careful with your low back as you come forward. Hmm. Let's walk our hands back towards our feet, coming back into our forward folds, and slowly find our way back up. Coming into our mountain pose. We're going to finish with a tree pose. So shifting your body weight to one foot, externally rotating that leg just like we did on the ground. Maybe bringing the foot up above the knee or to the shin. And then the hands could actually stay at the heart, or you could bring them up. It's really important to find your drishti. Breathe here. And then bring your hands back down. We're going to shift to the other side. Externally rotating that foot, engaging your pelvis. Hands could come to the heart. Maybe hands could come up. Pull your low belly in and feel into the tree pose. And then slowly bring it back down. If there's anything else you'd like to do before final relaxation, if there's any way that you would like to move your body, you could do that now. Otherwise, we're going to come onto our back body. And remember, an option is to use this rolled up towel or rolled up blanket to support your spine, including your head. And this is going to passively open the front of our chest. So finding your way onto your back body. You could keep your knees bent. You could take your legs out. You could bring the soles of your feet together. And then bringing your palms out. Feeling the opening. So staying here for as long as you are able or desire, or finding your way up with me. Sitting up nice and tall. Notice if your chest feels a little bit lighter, a little bit more open. Bring your hands together. Give yourself a little bow, thanking yourself for coming to the practice, thanking each other for being here as well. Namaste.